My life is painted by pictures of you. There you are holding me, a bundle of cloth protected in your bare arms as you wear that Jackie Kennedy dress-up dress. There's Dad, too, in his cap and gown in the background, which I find hard to believe, as he usually was front and center. That photo often reminds me of a fast-forward photo of you on the beach in your parka. It was January on Lake Michigan, after all. Nose to nose with my baby, matching smiles, cotton profile. But let's back up to the other photos. To the other photos next to cars by big trees on rerun vacations to the lake to stay with grandparents who really weren't that fond of us. Years later, I came to realize that we weren't all that special, that there were years when they weren't all that fond of you and your siblings either. And these thoughts fill me with such agony for little girl you, who so deserved the mother you would become. This sorrow lightens my heart for you, makes me understand so much I would not have when Juanita and I wore those matching culottes you made on your summer vacations each year until we asked you not to. I don't know who took this one of me laughing and pulling you into a hug. I'm sure I was making fun of you, which is, as we know, our way. Was I in college? Was my future still unplotted? Was this probably taken during a nephew's birthday party where we all gathered, all of us still living somewhere in California? And even though all were grown, we still had Sunday dinner often enough to make Dad think we would never move out. We each came back, too, each of the four of us, at one time or another, finding the ground again under your patient guidance and Dad's rattling keys and coins, nervous that we would never find our way, wondering if our lives would ever amount to... But you never let him finish that thought. And you made sure we all understood that home was home, regardless of the messes we made elsewhere. Many years later, a crowd assembles, believing themselves there to celebrate Dad's big birthday. We realize it was big now, but not for the reasons we had envisioned. When you planned your own funeral and called it a party, while you were alive to enjoy it, gathering everyone you loved, making Dad that centerpiece as usual. And lo, you lived. And then he didn't. And I continue to marvel at how you knew without knowing, and how your less than fatal illness at that time gave Dad the gift he later gave you, the art of taking care, of loving when it matters, witnessing. The other day, the five of us, my now family, gathered for dinner. It had been some time since we five had been one. And it brought back the picture that lives only in my mind and probably yours, but not digitally, not even in raggedy-edged black and white. Perhaps I'll render it in stick figures. You know the one, the picture of you and me and Molly and Chris and Juanita and Dad, who was in the hospital bed in the corner eating eggs. Chris had arrived 30 minutes before. I would leave in 30 more, 6 of us as one. It had not happened in years and would never happen again. I hold that photo in my head often in my daily cataloging of the important, the real, the meaningful. This photo that doesn't exist anywhere but my mind takes me to the other photos of 4 in Christmas pajamas that led to 3 in Christmas hats. And I am struck by the amount of you that I am and that my daughters are, mostly good, but also some bad, and how grateful I am that you became that you survived that childhood as well as ours. The random pixels form in my head, painting my life in photos of you and in photos of all that good you have brought us all. The matriarch who led from behind, but more likely from the center of all that noise and mess, and you made order. And I won't speak for the others, but for myself when I say you are the center, the very center of every piece of me.